What is up? Welcome into the Early Edge live stream watch party for Villanova versus Kansas. I'm your host, Alan Bell, and you can see the two dogs right here, M Squared and J Smooth, ready to go. We've got a great show for you, and we're going to get right after it. So first up, M Squared, how we doing, my man?
Doing all right, AB. Fired up for these games. We're almost there. Had a little sweat in golf this morning from the morning show. Ended up pushing on the final hole. Push is never a bad thing in that matchup. So both guys shot -3. Can't be too upset with it. And ready to watch this game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, you can't be upset with that. And also, dude, I wish I could just go out and shoot 3 under, right? Like, I wish I could do that as well. That would be nice. I'm multiple on the other end. Jay Smooth, how we doing, man? Like we said this morning, like, this is your Christmas, my man.
I'm excited. You know, if I shot -3, I'd win all my bets on the golf course. But look, it's going to be a great evening of basketball. Really excited to be here, break down some of these games with you guys. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it really is. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into our best bets. Now, first off, we've got to get 200 likes. If we do, we're going to give away a Paramount Plus gift card in the chat during the show. All right, so all you got to do, hit that like button. Everybody, hit it right now. Let's go ahead and knock it out, and the jeweler will drop that winner in the chat. So let's get into our best bets. Pull that up on the screen, Jules, if you can. Boom, perfect. My man is always spot on with it. So M Squared, start with you. You got a parlay here. Break it down.
Got a parlay here. It's simple money line parlay. It's one of the spot where we don't typically expect to love favorites. However, we do love the favorites today. Simulations really love them. So Kansas money line paired with Duke money line plus 133 is what I paid. It feels like a week ago now at this point. Not sure where it's at now. I would guess it's probably around plus 120 to 125, depending on where you're shopping on it. But I still like it here. I think Kansas gets it done. Big loss for Villanova with Justin Moore. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth here later. And I'll give you one more play that's not up there official yet. It's going to be a lean and a smaller unit play for me. But if your book has halftime, full-time results, if you like the Kansas side, I have them covering the spread in my simulations. If you like the Kansas side, I really like the Kansas halftime, full-time. So they have to be winning at halftime and full-time. That brings that money line on Kansas down to -110. Obviously, you're still at risk and exposed to a tie in the first half. That would be a loss. That is an option you can bet there. But definitely, I like the chat. Fade the guy in the backwards hat. Thank you. We can move on to the next. Sorry, that made me pop. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious, man. Like, that is good. All right, Jay Smith, coming to you. And look, hey, I'm in a backwards hat too, right? So look, we're both in the same category.
It's you and
but
me, buddy.
You got the fire picks, dude. You got a few of them. Break them down for us. What do you see out of these? What do you got?
Yeah, sure. So, with this first game here, I'm really excited about Kansas. I do think that they're going to be the better team out there. I've been excited about them since the beginning of the year. This is a well put together team. They know their strengths. They know what they're doing. I think they're going to be able to match up a lot better now without Justin Moore's presence. That is a very defensive, big-bodied guard who could have caused a lot of trouble for them. I think it's going to be a lot easier for them to execute. The books sort of made this around like 3 points for his absence, but it's almost hard to quantify when you just do have a team like Villanova that almost has zero depth. So it's going to be very interesting. They're going to need someone to step up. I'm not even sure they know who it might be. They probably have a better idea than I do. So we're going to have to see how it goes. It's going to be really interesting for live betting to see how they come out, how they look. Because, right now we only have one line, but the moment it gets started, you might be able to get the sense, all right, well, Kansas is really here, or okay, maybe Villanova is really out to play even without Justin Moore. We'll see how it goes. Oh, do you want me to go through all the picks, though? Did I?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, you don't have to break each
Okay.
one down. Like, we're going to get
Sure.
into the games. But, yeah, read through it. What do you got?
Yeah. No, so yeah, I'm taking Kansas. I'm going to take them both on the spread and the money line. Part of the reason why I'm going so heavy on it also is I have a lot of Villanova futures. They're the winner of my bracket. Stand to win a lot of money if that hits. So then in the second game, though, North Carolina +4 just really feels like it's the way to go with this game. Everyone's going to be on Duke. Think it's a storied game. Sure, I totally agree. It's going to be an awesome game, but I just feel like over a possession is a little bit too much. This North Carolina team is playing out of their minds. So I'm really excited to see them match up against Duke here. They've played well against them already this season. I know people are trying not to pay a lot of attention to that game at Cameron, but I don't think you can ignore it. I like the way they're matching up guard play, big man down low. It's going to be a great game. I think it could go to overtime, so I'm sprinkling on that one too.
So I'll go through the Maestros. He's on North Carolina's team total over 73.5. We have a side play from this morning show on North Carolina first half plus 2.5. With me, I'm going Kansas -4.5, and we'll break it all down here in just a second. Duke -4 later on tonight. We got the two-piece from this morning's show, +186, Kansas -4, and Duke on the money line. So real quick, and we're going to jump because Mike has two same-game parlays we want to break down. First, we had a great question in the chat on this morning's show, and I want everyone in the chat to kind of put your answer out there. Which team of the four teams playing tonight do you think hits the most three-pointers, right? Like KC had the question, and it's simple, but it's great. Like I really liked it just because all of these teams could go, right? Like just depending on the game. So yeah, everybody in the chat, drop that in. Who is your answer for which team hits the most threes today? All right, M Squared, you've got two same game parlays for us tonight. Go ahead and break those down, man. What do you got?
Yes. Are we pulling graphics up on the screen, or you want me to
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, Jeweler's got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. Otherwise, I'd have to pull the tickets up on the app. All right. So
Jeweler's right on it. He's got it, man.
Yes. Villanova Kansas game here for me is going to be Kansas +5.5 on the alt line, Villanova +14.5 on the alt line, and then the over 122.5 total points in the game. +110. I play this as a normal full unit play, playing on market efficiency. We don't get to do this a lot in college basketball, but this is a spot that projects as one to do it. The comment that I will make on this one, especially the Kansas game, the consensus is under. If you agree with that and you like that, remove this over 122.5. Go play the under on the highest total they will let you, which should be, I want to say 140 something. Be 142.5 probably would be what you'd be able to play. It'd be the same payout. However, I like the over in this Villanova game, which is kind of terrifying, kind of scary based on the way that they play and the way the unders have been. We've talked about it, 11-1 in the under for the last two rounds of the tournament. Then we move to UNC Duke, very much the same parlay. We added a first half element on UNC here, though. Duke +5.5 on the alternate line, UNC +14.5. First half, UNC +7.5. And then I like the first half under the alternate number here at 82.5 total points. Put them all together, +130. And again, I treat this as a full play.
Nice. All right. And I'm with you, man. Like, and we're going to break this game down right now. Like, you look at Kansas Villanova, right? All right. Some stats in regards to both of these teams. Look, Villanova, on average of their four tournament games, on average, each game, their points per game has decreased by 15.6%. And then on the other side of all four games that Villanova has played, they have held their opponent to 10 points fewer than what they averaged during the season, right? So you've got a team that's kind of leaking oil offensively and also playing great defense. That being said, I kind of like the over in this one too. It's a nice number here. We could see free throws, one on Villanova's side, but two on the other end. And look, this is where we go. All right, and I want to get into it now. Everybody in the chat, make sure, hit that like button. Let's get to 200. Let's knock these out. Also, drop in any questions that you have. Seriously, we're going to hit every single one of them. But the first thing that I bring up is this. All right, so Villanova is what? Right, sitting right now, a 4-point dog. Got a total of 133.5. So we all know about the Justin Moore injury, okay? So one, Villanova trying to replace that production, okay? They don't really run a deep bench in terms of a ton of minutes, played in the game. However, one, they are good at the free throw line, historically good, right? But two, what I wonder is what happens if Kansas forces the issue and gets Villanova into foul trouble early in the first half with not having a deep bench. That could really affect the way that this game is played, and it could get a ton of points in the second half for Kansas, not only at the free throw line, but with Villanova essentially kind of having to take the dogs off defensively, right? So, Jay Smooth, I throw it to you. Squared, I'd love your thoughts as well. Just kind of how you see this game breaking out, playing out, just your thoughts, all around it.
Definitely. I really think that's an interesting way to look at it. I kind of agree. I mean, I took that play on Kansas on the team total over 68.5. I do see them getting into the 70s today. I think Villanova is going to have to try to abandon some defense at some point because they're just going to be effective enough that they can methodically put up points, keep up in the half court, and Nova missing some both offense and defensive prowess, right? We're going to unfortunately say Justin Moore a million times today, but he is a defensive presence too, right? The offense is obviously a big deal, but we need him on defense to stop someone like Remy Martin, who's really going to be looking at this game as probably the biggest in his career thus far. Kansas is really looking to try to make this a run. They're one of the best teams in March ever, right? They've made so many tournaments in a row. I just think that this does have potential for Kansas to go over their scoring. I am worried about Nova going over their scoring number, which is about 65 points. So that's why I took only Kansas's team total number. Nova team total under wouldn't shock me. But yeah, I'm not really touching the full total. I'd rather target the team on Kansas because I think they do better.
Yeah, I'm with you. M squared, go ahead. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because typically we always, in our minds, people typically overvalue players, right? We see a player being out, we think that, oh, this is a huge loss to them. It's worth a lot, worth a lot, worth a lot. The market has said that this is worth 3 points, essentially. I think it's worth closer to 5. And the reason for that is his offensive presence is obviously going to be felt, but where they're going to miss him most, as Justin has said, it's on the defensive end and in transition. What I'm worried about for Villanova is they only had 6 players average 10 minutes a game or more. He was obviously one of them, led the team in minutes. It's going to be a massive loss for them. I even question if some of the other players on the team are in game shape, literally physically in game shape enough to play 25 plus minutes in this game. We'll see if they platoon it and have to run with 3 players. But I think the most interesting thing is we know Villanova wants to play slow. They always have. They pretty much always will as long as Jay Wright is in command. You look at this Kansas team, though, and they're actually a little bit more on the fast side. They want to get out and run. I look for them to start and push as much as they possibly can early to put them in some of the uncomfortable positions that you've talked about. I don't know what they're going to do. Longino was someone who would have stepped up into this role. He's been ruled out for the tournament, right? So it's Archie Diacono is going to have to come in. They haven't trusted him to play more than literally 90-second stints at a time. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how they replace him. I think it's hurting them on the defensive end. And again, in transition, as Kansas likes to push. I think the 2 biggest, Abaji's obviously a big benefactor, but another guy that I've got my eye on the Kansas side, Jalen Wilson. He's the best rebounder on Kansas. That's where I expect them to have a pretty meaningful edge in this game, is going to be crashing the offensive boards. I think that they're really going to miss his presence in that rebounding area. So I'm obviously on Kansas in this game, but I do think that some of that Kansas looking to push the pace, a little bit relaxed effort on the defensive side the other way. I think that we could see Villanova at stretches in this game actually adapt a little bit quicker pace than we've seen from them.
Nice. All right, a question for you real quick. Michael Lawler in the chat, and Mike, I'm throwing this to you. And Jay Smooth, jump in afterward, right? Like you guys obviously do that for any of the questions that we have. All right, so he says, have Villanova and Kansas futures to win the national championship? Any way I should bet North Carolina Duke specifically to hedge that championship game? So, yeah, Mike, throw it to you first. Jay Smooth, jump in right after.
I'm going to put Jay Smooth on the spot just because Jay Smooth is in this exact situation. It's likely from Jay Smooth's advice because that was his preseason show here on the Early Edge. He has futures on both Nova and Kansas, and I'm going to put him on the spot. Let's hear what you're doing and how you're attacking it, and then I will tell you how I would do it.
Nice.
I'm letting it ride, baby. No, I think that's definitely the most interesting way to do it because especially if you have the odds that I have Kansas at 1,600, Nova at 1,200, and then again hit at 20 at 2,000 for full units. So I have a lot more on Nova. So I do have a little bit on Kansas tonight. That's where I'm a little bit more worried about it. I'm happy to carry in like a plus 1,600 into the championship without really taking anything off the table in that other matchup. Just like taking a promise ticket into the championship is pretty nice in terms of like your hedging opportunity, because if you hedge the other game, you're definitely losing one. Like there's no value coming from one side. And I know what I can basically tell you what Mike's going to say, right? Mike's going to tell you to probably take the UNC ticket right now because it's going to be a nice price, and you should probably take both tickets right now. You should get Duke and UNC money in. That's the alternate way to look at it. It's probably a good way to look at it. I think UNC plus 500 right now is a pretty good price. If they get past Duke, that is going to plummet, right? That's the idea. But if Duke wins more often than not, according to the market, you might just be throwing money away. I'm not really going to sit there and worry about it too much. I just want to watch the game and enjoy. I'm going to take my hedging opportunity into the final with my big tickets and see how it goes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with that. The only thing that I would do if you really wanted to hedge, personally, I personally let it ride because I think Kansas is the best team remaining. If we're wrong about that, I'll gladly take Villanova into that matchup because that means Villanova's figured some things out and they obviously beat a very good team today. But if you're looking to hedge and you truly want to hedge, you play North Carolina part of it now. The reason why you play that now is because it is plus 500. If North Carolina advances, they will be a plus 125 underdog. If it's Kansas, they'll be favored probably over Nova if they play Nova in the championship game. However, Duke is plus 155 now. Duke will be around even money to start that next game. So you're not giving up a ton by waiting that leg out. And you'll likely again see a plus 155 potentially live during that championship game even. But you're never going to see plus 500 on Carolina again, unless they're down by 12 to 15 points, in which case you're probably not interested in hedging again anyway. So if you want to hedge at all, you hedge a little bit with Carolina right now at plus 500, and then Duke, you wait it out.
All right, there we go. All right, so Elliot V in the chat, and look, a lot of people have asked about this, so we're just going to hit them both right now. All right, so Elliot V, which funny, by the way, he said he's changing the AB3 to the Elliot V. I like that a lot. He asked first half under 61.5 between Villanova and Kansas, and then also let me get what the spread is real quick here. Sorry, so we've got
it would be 2 or 1.5, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's got to be somewhere around there. Yeah. So
2.5.
okay,
Yeah.
2.5.
Wow,
okay.
okay.
All right. So yeah. All right. So Jay Smooth, throw it to you first. Any thoughts there on what he's asking in regards to the total? Any thoughts in regards to the spread first half?
I'm super worried about this under on this Nova game, just like Mike mentioned, because everybody's been hitting these unders. I think, if anything, everybody knows about this trend by now. We were talking about it like a week and a half ago, but it's hit so much that I think that might be a little bit, especially on Nova, who's gone so slow. I just don't think it's the same team because they're going to have to do something different to make up that offensive production, throw something maybe a little bit different at Kansas, because if they come out and run what's on the tape and without their best player who sort of keeps the all together and acts as like the glue, or one of the best players, you can make a lot of arguments, sure. But I just think it's a totally different game. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that score go over. It is a really low number for a typical college basketball game. I mean, if Kansas can get like 35, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble. And I don't think that that's out of their range. So especially if they struggle on the defensive end, I'm hesitating on the first half under for sure.
Mikey?
Yeah, I'm definitely right there. I'm totally off the first half under in this game. If you wanted to play first half unders, you had a week and a half to do it, but leading into this. Yeah. But now at this point, I think you've most likely missed the opportunity on it. This number, I would expect this number to be 63.5 to 64. You're seeing it right here at 61.5. I don't think there's much value at all at this point. So I'm totally off it. If you want to let it ride, it's obviously been a very profitable bet over the last few weeks. But if you haven't been playing them, I don't think this is the best opportunity to jump in and play one, in my opinion.
Yeah. And everybody in the chat, we are at 85 likes. We need to get to 200. So everybody right now, if you can, boom, hit that like button. Let's get to it. Let's knock that out. Let's get it out of the way. All right. So going off of that, all right, we just talked about the first half. All right. So the second half, okay. If anybody bets second halves before the game starts, not a ton of people do it. I'd like it if you've got a good feel on the game, right? Like you've got to have a good feel of kind of how you want to go. And quite honestly, guessing in the Final Four could be a little bit difficult. But, going off the scenario of, let's say, Kansas's goal in the first half is to either get Villanova in foul trouble or just get them to run, right? Like Mike, like you were saying, in terms of the guys being like in game shape, ready to go. And if Kansas really presses that in the first half, in the second half, we could see not only Kansas, taking advantage of maybe a little bit, a weaker defense because they don't want to foul, or Kansas being at the line. And if either of those scenarios happen, you've got Villanova who, it's do or die. They have to essentially speed themselves up and fire up more shots, right? So I'm kind of fascinated at that. Any thoughts that you guys have there? I know it's tough projecting second halves of games. Any thoughts with that? Also, Michael asks, feel free to answer this one as well. We don't ever talk teasers in basketball games, specifically college basketball games, but any thoughts on those as well? So feel free to take it wherever you want. Mike, I'll throw it to you. Jay Smooth jumping right after him.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts on the second half of the game, other than I project it most of the same way throughout. I think you have the higher probability of shooting for more free throws in the second half. That definitely benefits Nova, keeping it a little closer in that second half. But yeah, mostly have no real thoughts on the second half before the game starts. As far as teasers, yeah, we typically don't tease in basketball in general or college sports, not even college football, just because it's not an efficient market like you see in pro leagues like the NFL. However, as you saw my same game parlays, that's essentially a teaser in that spot. These are basically the final, the Elite Eight, Final Four championship games. Those are where you can start to tease games typically. Playing on the market efficiency, those are the games that should be the most efficient in the market. So I don't hate it in this particular spot. I personally think that there's enough unknown on the Nova side that I think you're still a little vulnerable doing that at a number like 8. A 9 to 11 point victory is still very, very reasonable. Just the way late game situations go with fouling. So I would be a little hesitant on that side, just knowing that there's a lot of unknown that we don't know on the Nova side. I feel much better about it in the alternate number that I showed you on my parlay, up to 14.5. I feel there's a huge difference between 8 and 14.5 in a college basketball game like this. So I do lean there, though. I think that it's okay to tease in this particular spot. I just don't like to get people in the habit of teasing college sports and basketball in general because it's just such a volatile game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely agree with the volatility is a very different thing, especially when you're looking at teasing across multiple games, right? Like if you look at how Mike and I are teasing, I have some parlays up on Twitter too, are sort of similar, a little different. Mine are only 2-leg, but the idea is making a correlated play within the same game because it's not independent, right? Nova and UNC's performances really do not rely on one another, but Kansas to win and Kansas to score over a certain number of points really does correlate. Usually if they score X points, they win a certain rate, and you start to, shave your odds off on the edges a little bit. You still do leave yourself open for them hitting one leg and not the other. But of course, that's kind of the chance you take. You take your gamble because you think the odds of them happening together is, better than what you're being offered at the book, right? That's essentially how we make our plays. But yeah, I think, you don't really want to buy too many points. Again, Mike sort of does more for like market efficiency, saying there's no way that Nova loses by 4 possessions, 5 possessions is what he's kind of going out there and saying. And that's a different gamble than saying, okay, let me grab 4 extra points on each underdog, because again, that's only like 2.5 baskets inside the arc. Like that could be pretty easy. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's a tough spot though. But you want to try to keep your plays correlated when you're buying points from the book.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, and going off of that, first up, I want to show everyone why Jeweler is the man in regards to producing shows. I completely missed your parlays this morning, didn't I? I think you sent those over, and I completely didn't even throw it to you. Like, I'm telling you, I realized that later. Like, I was like, dude, I completely messed up. Jay Smooth on that. So, one, that goes to show why Jeweler's the man, and I could go applesauce braid at any moment. So, apologies there, but you got him out. Now, number 2. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, number 2, Jason Baker in the chat asked this, and I thought it was a great question. And he said, also, y'all know that I hit the like button. So, well done there. Everybody hit that like button for sure. He says, okay, so how do you feel about the Kansas game going to OT? And Jay Smith, I'm going to throw this to you. Mike, feel free to jump in afterward if you have thoughts. If you don't, that's fine. How do you feel about the Kansas game going to OT? Do you think it will happen? If not, why? And I say this because you have Duke and North Carolina. I believe at what, 20, like 2/10 of a unit?
Yeah, 2/10 of a unit, almost
so,
10 to 1.
Yeah, so you had some thoughts there on North Carolina Duke going to overtime. How do you feel about this Villanova Kansas?
I mean, look, I just see the game being a relatively definitive Kansas win. I think that if you're going to buy you could sell points to the book and take Kansas -7 here today. And I think that, get some plus odds in this game, and it wouldn't even be the worst idea. I just do see Kansas being, having more points when the whistle blows at the end of the game. That's just what it's going to come down to. I think they're winning. Duke, UNC, again, I'm on the underdog. So I see UNC competing a little bit more, keeping it close, having a couple leads in the game, maybe some ties, game goes down to the wire. It is this game of destiny. So it wouldn't shock me to see some OT. It would be almost too picture perfect. This is a big game. So I think it's just a fun bet to put down some money on it. It definitely could happen.
For sure. Mike, any thoughts yet?
Nah, no real thoughts on it. I have Kansas significantly better than Villanova, so it's not a situation that I would play.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. All right, so Douglas Levitt asked player props. Now, here's the hard part. Player props in college aren't available everywhere. Me and Mike are both in Tennessee. Can't get them. Like, they just don't offer them. It's not legal. So it's tough to answer on that. If you have any specific, I'm sure Jay Smooth can hit on those.
I'm not sure they're legal here. Like I usually, they aren't really heavily advertised. I would imagine they're not. I only got legal gambling like 3 months ago anyway. So, I mean, it's been a good like 10 weeks, but it's crazy. New York's I think New York's leading for February handle over $1 billion, the only state over $1 billion. So a lot of gambling going on in New York, but we haven't had it that long. So no, I don't think we have them here. I'm going to double check right now, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I know, obviously that we don't hear and have it, from the beginning. So it's tough. We can look at projections if you have a specific player, like William says, Paolo over 18.5 points. Yeah, we could take a look at that here in just a second. But understand it'll take a minute because we don't have those odds and everything available. So it's tough. Now, someone did ask in the chat in regards to live betting, and Mike, I'll throw this to you. Kind of looking at it. And again, it's, you kind of have like what you want, right? And you might not ever get that scenario, okay? But I have to assume that looking at this Villanova Kansas game, like if you feel that Kansas is your team that you think should win the game, right? Like if you were to live bet, you would be looking for Villanova to immediately come out, to an early, 6-0 lead, 8-0 lead. Is that kind of your thought process if you were to live bet this game?
Yeah, if I was live betting it there, I mean, I'm always got everything up and ready to go. If I'm following the game, no real plans yet because I think it'll be unlikely that we see that scenario. But what I would be looking for is basically getting the Kansas money line as close to even money as possible. I do think that will take, at least in the first 12 minutes of the game, probably a 7-point or more Villanova lead at that point. I don't think we're going to see it with the standard up by 2 baskets, a 4-point lead for Villanova. I think Kansas is still going to be minus 125 at that spot or more. So that's where I would be looking for it. If you like Villanova, there are obviously many people out there still like Villanova. It's still an efficient market. If you like Nova +4, I do and think that they have a shot to win and or cover this game. That's where I think that you can start by taking Nova money line to start the game. Let's see the price currently at +165 on Nova's money line. If you like them, I don't like them, so I'm not doing it. But if you did like Nova, I would grab them at +165 because if you are correct, you will likely catch Kansas at even money or Kansas at plus money. Have the little arbitrage situation. You'll have plus money on both sides. You'll be able to cash that out. But I'm not on that Nova side. I don't like them in the game, so I'm not doing it. But my only advice as far as live betting would be, if you like Nova to cover, you like Nova to potentially win outright, then I would definitely play the money line right now at +165.
Yeah. And look, and this is making it much more difficult, but, I do see, you look at like winning margins, right? Like Villanova by 1 to 5 points is +400. Now, again, you're adding more risk because it has to be, in that range. But I'm with you. Like, I think that there are options. And if they win, it's probably not by, double digits. But then again, it's the Final Four. Who knows? Like, just throwing that out there. Jay Smooth, coming right back to you. Yeah, your thoughts, live betting here.
I mean, with live betting, you always kind of just want to be watching and ready to, pull the trigger, if you will, because if there's an 8-0 run, you kind of want to be right there going against it. And again, if someone looks like they're falling apart, and it all kind of also depends on like where in the game it happens, right? So if you get that like wrong team, the underdog's up by 8 early points and Kansas just has like a lid on the bucket and can't get it going early, the books aren't really going to panic and start offering Kansas at plus money that quick. They're going to want to wait a little bit and understand like what the expected result is, and you just basically want to play against the expected result. So if it goes really, really quick in the first half and everyone's hitting all these buckets and they're shooting really great percents and Kansas is hitting 60% of their threes to open the game and Nova's answering, like, wait till you sort of start feeling like you're at a good spot and hit the live under, because it's going to slow down in the second half. Like the buckets are going to become more at a premium for a bit there. And there could be fouls, but you just gotta feel it out. There's no necessarily like one foolproof way to live bet. I wish, but yeah, you just want to sort of see who's playing well, try to get like maybe some lines on first half live bets if you get a good sense on how the first half's going to end. Over bets sometimes with fouls at the end of periods can be really interesting because you're going to get those free points, and Nova doesn't miss a lot, so those points are pretty efficient. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch and just see how this game gets started, because you're going to know within the first 7 to 8 minutes if Nova's really going to be able to hang tonight.
Yeah, Mikey, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say in this particular game, there are a few spots where you can start to pick up little edges on the live betting, and it's going to be centered around the fouls because there are a couple players on both sides that as they get a second foul, it creates a lot of problems for them. Obviously, if they have 2 fouls early in the game, there's at least 2 team fouls as well, talking about first half of the game. So as you approach that number of 7 or really 6, because the 7th foul becomes a shooting situation, Nova is so good at the free throw line at that point that you can begin to pick up little edges there. Books are good and decent, but there's still a little edge left there on basically giving Nova their true shooting percentage from the free throw line. The live algorithm definitely does not do that initially. So on the Kansas side, what you're really going to be looking for, you're going to be looking for either Jalen Wilson or David McCormick, in my opinion, those being 2 pretty important players defensively on their end for them, picking up early fouls. And then obviously Gillespie on the other side, Samuels. Those are going to be guys that as you see a second foul, see that foul count coming up a little bit, you can start to get a little bit of an edge, especially because by watching the game and seeing the flow, you'll definitely have an understanding of what kind of probability and like when are we hitting the bonus situation? Are we hitting the bonus situation with 10 minutes left, or are we likely hitting it with 3 minutes left? Massive, massive difference, not only on the spread, but the first half total as well.
Yeah, it's a good call. And, I think that fouls, and how the whistles are going are so, excuse me, incredibly important. But the difficult part is that you might have to do a little projecting, like Mike said, right? If you've got a certain player that has 2 fouls for Villanova, not only is that 2 on him, like you said, it's 2, on the team in the first half, but you look at these players, especially if any get 2 to 3, like in the second half, like that's where you're going to see that really get expanded, because those guys really can't get down on defense like they like to. So it's tough there. All right, real quick, we're at 127 likes. We need to get to 200. We're going to give a $100 Paramount Plus gift card away. Jeweler is ready to pull the trigger on giving that out, but we've got to get 200 likes. So everybody, please hit the like.
AB, really quick. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to jump. Yeah, obviously you got to hit the like button. I didn't want to interrupt that. It's really important. I know, probably more important than any nugget out there, for real. Please do. Don't let me interrupt. But I really want to talk about Villanova just before we move on the 2 foul issue that Mike was talking about. We have them as one of the least participation percent. Their participation rate when you have 2 fouls is one of the worst in the country. 302nd in the country. 8% participation rate when a player has 2 fouls in the first half. So Jay Wright's literally going to sit someone down who has 2 fouls. I don't think he has any other choice, because they just might not be available for the second half, and that's all that's going to matter. So yeah. Just a good little stat. Sorry to interrupt.
No, please. Dude, trust me, always. That's good information for sure. Okay, so now anybody that rode with us during the NFL season, right? We played a game called the Van Jefferson Memorial, where we would project who was going to score the first touchdown in the game. And with that, we would have to pick a player on either team that was plus 1,000 odds or more. All right, so we're going to do that for Villanova and Kansas right here. Now, we're not going to go the plus 1,000 or more, because that just takes out essentially everybody here. But we're going to play the game, and I'm fired up to do it. And I know Jeweler's got a graphic for the screen. So, Jay Smooth, I'm going to throw it to you first. Who do you got? Why do you like it?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I'm going to go with Abaji plus 550 here to score the first bucket. I just think that inside presence is really nice, high potential shot, right? A dunk layup is really what that type of player is going to look for. Even like a interior post move is a pretty high percentage. And I like that for the odds that we're getting at plus 550. So I'll grab it. Again, it's probably going to come down to who gets the tip, but still a fun bet. Let's go.
There we go. All right, M Squared, throw it to you, man.
I like Jalen Wilson also on the Kansas side, plus 850. He's the best rebounder on the team. I think we're looking at a situation where we have a missed shot, put back opportunity here for them. Look for Nova to potentially be, a little scrambling in the first possession or two of the game. Get up to that speed here, but I like Jalen Wilson the way he crashes the boards. So plus 850. I wish I could bet it. I can't. I don't have it in Tennessee. So someone bet it for me, please, because I do like Jalen Wilson.
There we go. All right. I'm going to go Colin Gillespie, man. Especially after coming off of that Houston game. Yeah, I believe he only had like 6 points or so, right? So I think that you're going to see somebody that is going to step up, try to alleviate, the loss of Justin Moore, and you might get him firing a 3 early, right? Like, I think that Villanova understands that, like it's not a bad thing to to get some shots up quick, drop them in. The more that they can play ahead is going to help them so incredibly much. So I'll take Gillespie plus 550, but I think all these bets are solid right here. All right, so jumping back in the chat again, everybody, if you could, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be live at 7:30 Eastern to break down North Carolina at Duke. So I know that we haven't answered many of those questions in the chat because we got another show coming, and we'll break down every single one of them. We'll answer all of them, but we want to focus here on Villanova and Kansas in this game. So going through the chat here, I don't see, North Carolina, that's the next game here. Yeah, like just not many. If you have any questions in regards to it, drop them in. There's just not many there because I think that, this Justin Moore situation certainly does have bettors at least paused right now. I think, Mike, the way that you broke it down, both of you, like super intelligent, but you just don't know what you're going to get right out of Villanova, right? So it's a little difficult here. So we'll see about that. Any, kind of final thoughts? We'll wrap the show up here in just a little bit. Any final thoughts that you have just on this game? Any thoughts, any bets that you looked at, possibly didn't hit them, but you almost pulled the trigger on it? Jay Smith, I'll start with you, then M Squared, get right back at you.
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to say, the best part about the 7:30 show is we're going to be watching the end of this game. So we're going to be sitting here sweating the end of these bets, like hoping we all get it live. You're all going to get to see which one of us is victorious before we get into that epic final game. That's going to be a treat. I can't wait. But any bets that I didn't really pull the trigger on, not really, honestly. This is the Final Four for me, man. It's like the Super Bowl. Like I got the chips and dip ready. I'm ready to go have like a good time tonight. This is like everything we've been waiting for. What an epic Final Four, maybe one of the best of all time. These games are ultimate treats, ultimate competitions. I just think, I pulled the trigger on everything I liked. I got my full, how I expect the game to go, and we'll see if I get it right.
I like it. It was great.
The only one that I haven't put in yet that I'm still going to, just deciding on the unit size still, is the halftime, full-time bet, which would be Kansas to lead at halftime, Kansas to lead at the end of the game, minus 110. I do think it's an interesting way to play the Kansas money line if you don't want to lay the minus 200 that is out there right now. That's one that I will be looking at, and then potentially some sprinkles on some of the winning margins. I think that Kansas by 6 to 10 and Kansas by 11 to 15 are both pretty interesting. Get close to plus 500 on Kansas by 11 to 15. If they are in control of the game the way we think they are, it's obviously must-win territory. If they can make their free throws at the end, there's a chance that this one pushes to 11 pretty quickly.
Nice. I love winning margin bets. Like they're difficult. They are super difficult to hit, but when you've got a good, kind of feel on it, like those things could pay out pretty nicely. Okay, so we do have a couple questions in the chat. First off, Jason Baker. All right, who's picking up more points tonight? Remy Martin for Kansas or Daniels on Villanova? Feel free, either of you jump in. Your initial thoughts. Yeah, we do.
I personally would answer that question with who do you like in the game, Jason, against the spread? Or to win outright, frankly. If you like Nova, Daniels is going to have to participate and be active for them to cover the spread and win the game. And Remy Martin's not going to have a big game, likely, if Villanova is going to win. I think Remy Martin's going to have more opportunity, as weird as that sounds, even though that he's obviously in the role that he is, and it's really thin on the other side, but it's such a toss-up. I'm going to lean Remy Martin just because I do think that he's going to be in the closing lineup as well, no matter what. So I do think that he could potentially see 4 to 6 additional free throws at the end of the game that likely could be the difference in this play. So it just really depends on where – that's how close it is. That's what I'm telling you. I think it's a very efficient line. whichever way you lean in the game against the spread, that is the direction I would lean. But because I'm on Kansas, I think Remy Martin has those 4 free throws at the end.
Nice. All right. So we are at 154 likes. We need to get to 200 for the jeweler to give out a $100 Paramount Plus gift card. So everybody hit that like button right now. Let's get to 200. Let's knock that out. Jay Smooth. All right. Same question to you. What are your thoughts?
I think Mike hit that one on the head. For me, it's Remy Martin, just because he's just going to be so much more in control of the ball, like looking to get some of the other role players involved. But if they are well covered, he can get his own shot off, right? Like that's the whole idea. That's why they've been able to get this far. That's why he transferred to Kansas. That's why he's here, right? He had a great year last year, but this is what he's here for. And it's go time for Remy Martin. I think this is, again, a big spotlight game for him. He wants to be in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to be all that in the next level, but you know what? This is where stories start. So I think he wants to get in this one and win this game. So I like him. I don't know the odds either. So if it's even money, I definitely lean Remy. Slightly lean. Excuse me. If it's like minus 120 and maybe like even money on the other side, I would still take it. But anything past that, I'm probably ignoring it.
Yeah. All right. Somebody get that man a glass of water. Let him get
my water's out, man. Like
That's tough, dude. All right. So, okay, a couple of questions here, and we've answered them, but I want to make sure we hit them again. All right. So, Squid Inc. asks Villanova plus 7.5 first half. You guys' thoughts? You don't have to go full in deep of how we did earlier, but rapid fire, quick answer. Jay Smooth, I'll start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, that should be nice. I think that this game 7.5 at the half, is just a lot of points, and this game should probably be about 6, 5.5, maybe even lower. I mean, I was going to even bring up Miami Kansas game. Kansas kind of came alive in that second half, burned me, right? I had the Kansas like -3 in the first half, and they opened up some crazy run in the second. Of course, I don't get a drop of that money. My bookie doesn't give a crap when they win. Bet lost. So nonetheless, I mean, could Kansas come out slow? I don't think it's against their nature. So I don't hate that bet. That's a lot of points to win by in a first half, especially if they come out like, really draining the clock, and Nova knows how to drain the clock. And that gives more points to every, added point to the spread for the underdog.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Mike, your thoughts there, or feel free. More Than Most asked, got here late. We all think about 133 over and under the total. So, Mike, feel free. Answer whichever one you want.
I'll hit them both quickly. I don't mind the plus 7.5. My question would be, are you pairing it with anything else? Or are you just paying minus 300 or whatever on it? I don't necessarily hate it either way. It's not impossible for Kansas to be up 8 points in this game. So I don't love laying minus 300 or whatever it is you're paying on it. I would assume it's close to that. But I do expect it to be within 2 possessions. I expect 6-point game in the first half.
I was expecting it to be like a leg for a parlay, probably. I mean, we don't really sit around and try to lay, anything bigger than like, even tonight laying 190 with Kansas is a lot for me. And I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't in a position with my Villanova futures and my bracket champion being Villanova to do it. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Tar Heels and Nova would be an awesome result for that exacta play we made the other day too. So
yeah. Dude, that would be awesome. All right. So real quick, the jeweler, again, my man is brilliant here, dropped a poll before the show. All right. Asking everybody who covers the spread. All right. Villanova +4, Kansas -4. The answer to that, of what the chat has answered, how they've answered, 77% on Kansas. All right. 77% on Kansas. Now, another question. And Jay Smooth, I'll start with you. M Squared, again, feel free, jump in if you have thoughts on it. Villanova team total under 64.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it a little bit this morning. I don't really trust them to get past 65 today, and I don't think the book does either. But, I think if you're really worried about them, you're better off taking that spread in Kansas to remain efficient and get further than 4 points past them today. I think that's a better bet on if you think Villanova doesn't have it rather than their team total. But yeah, you know what? They struggle to get to points anyway. That's the way I would lean. But I think there are other ways to attack this game that are a little bit better. And that's what I've done with my gambles. But yeah, don't hate it.
Yeah. Mikey, any thoughts?
That's the most efficient line I have out of everything. Both games, halves, totals, sides. My number is 64.4 in the sim. It's the closest to there. So that is the bet I would stay the furthest away from.
Yeah. an interesting, we spoke earlier about Villanova in terms of their points per game, from the opening round all the way to here, and it dropping roughly on average, about 15%. The fascinating part is that you look at Kansas through their 4 games in the tournament, they've got a 16.3 plus points per game differential against the teams they played. However, Jay Smooth, you brought it up last week that it's really off of that first game. And then the last game that we saw, I think they beat Miami. I think it was by 15. Is that what it was? Yeah, right. But the 2 in between there, I think were like 5 points and 6 points. You know what I mean? So it's tough. And Reed Phillips in the chat says Kansas should cover, but dang, if they have trouble doing so. Like that part's tough too, is that you could get Kansas can blow anybody out at any moment. And they could also not do that. And they could also lose, right? Villanova's Villanova. So, man, I'm just so fast. There's no question with that. But if you have any thoughts on it, it's just tough projecting not only Villanova's team total, but Kansas's as well. So, yeah, Jason, if you have any thoughts there.
It is not easy. This is March Madness. This is still one of the craziest games, and while lines are as efficient as they get, results can still vary greatly. There could be a lid on the bucket. There could be free flowing scoring out of nowhere. Everything is possible right now because we just haven't even seen them start. I don't know. I'm so excited about this. We got 20 minutes here until the game tips off. We're going to have such a good time watching this. My favorite part about betting is doing so in such a way that you can still enjoy the game, even if it goes totally wrong. Right. I mean, and of course with this one, I'm kind of set up either way. It can't go wrong for me, which is awesome in its own way. And that takes a lot of, luck, I guess. But yeah, it's all a flip of the coin, but we're all here, we're going to have a great time watching it, and it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. So I want to hit one more question. We'll do it quick, and then we'll hit up our best bets, and we'll jump out. Again, hit the like button. We are almost at 200. Get to 200. Let's do it. Give you a couple minutes here. All right. So Stu asked in the chat, Colin Gillespie over 2.5 3-pointers made in the game. Let me give you some numbers here, and you guys feel free to kind of give your thoughts. All right. So against Houston, 0 for 4 from 3. All right. Against Michigan, 4 for 10 from 3. Against Ohio State, 2 for 9 from 3. And then against, what was that? Delaware? Was that? Yeah. 4 for 9 against them. So, yeah. What are your thoughts there in regards to Gillespie over 2.5? If squared, feel free. Go first. I keep throwing it to Jay Smith.
Yeah, I don't have the price on it, obviously, and I can't bet this in Tennessee where props are not legal. But I do lean towards the over, assuming it's a over 2.5 minus 110. I would be off of it if you're laying minus 150. It just depends on what the price is. So the median number for me is going to be 2.8. It's going to be over that. Minus 110, I think it's fine to play it. Another one that comes down to, do you think Nova wins this game? He's going to need to make 3 threes in this game if you think they're going to win, in my opinion.
Well, what about if they're losing and he's taking threes at the end of the game? I feel like this bet probably does have some value in that sense, right? Because if they're down and he's just hoisting them up because it's their only chance, they're down 4 possessions with 2.5 to go. I think he's the guy who's probably taking some of those shots, trying to get open, coming off screens. It would make sense. I think, we talk about it a lot in the college basketball season and any season, we want to play for opportunities. And if, he probably shoots a little bit above 35%, I'd imagine. I don't know his numbers off the top of my head, but that would be a nice percentage. If he's shooting, if he's shooting 35%, you're going to need him still to take 9 or 10 shots, right? To get 3 expected. If you're lucky, if he hits 3 of 8, right? That'd be a great performance for him. So I think he does have the opportunity to take 2 or 3 late game, which does give it a little bit of an edge for me. I don't hate the over 2.5 threes for Gillespie.
Well, you know what? To back up exactly what you just said. All right, so I've got the numbers in front of me. So this season is his best percentage. Excuse me, in terms of 3-point shooting. Yeah, 40.9% this year.
Wow.
Last season he was 37.6%. The year before that, 35.7%. So yeah, man, I
was 2 years early. Kyle. I'm sorry, Mr. Gillespie.
Yeah. So yeah, and you bring up a good point too in regards to the end of the game. If they're down in at least somewhat large 7, 8, 9, but it's within reason of getting back. You could get 2, 3, 3-point opportunities in the last minute alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
The
I'm with
fouls, yeah, you get those shots, and again, if it's 40% right now, I mean that means he needs 7.5 shots, right? So you'd expect him to hit this if he can get 8 shots up, and if you think he gets 3, at the end of the game in the last 5 minutes, it means he only needs to take 5 at the beginning. And if they're losing early, he's probably more prone to do that. But if they're staying involved, like he might be a little bit more inclined to go inside, get a better look, and not really shoot those threes, pass off the ball a little bit more. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, but I do lean over. I think Mike's number at 2.8 probably does highlight that it goes over the number more often than not, but still is a decent shot to lose.
Yeah. All right. So I believe that we just hit 200 likes.
Hey.
Chase says it in the chat. We'll let the jeweler confirm here, but I believe that we did. So, jeweler, if we have, man, feel free, let it rip. Yeah.
I'm only seeing 178.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know what our man's doing here, Chase, but I don't know.
Now I got to check, guys. Now I got to check.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'm seeing 180 now. I mean,
it was a smart move by Chase because he knew he's like, dude, I could just slide one right by AB there. So, yeah. Like, I was certainly never the guy that was the, what did you call it? Like in school when the teacher left, like the room, like whoever's in charge of the class. Dude, that was not me at all. At all. All right, we're almost there. All right, like Jeweler said, 180. We need 20 likes. That's it.
Almost. Yeah.
We're gonna give our best bets right now, and then we're gonna get out so that you can get these bets in and get ready and watch the game. So you got a couple minutes left. Hit that like button. Let's do it. Jeweler, if you could pull up the best bets again, M squared, I'll throw it to you. You've got your parlay here, and then 2 same game parlays. Feel free to rip through those pretty quick.
Cool. Yep. I have Kansas money line and the Duke money line paired together. Plus 133 is where I played it. I would still play it down to plus 120 range. Not exactly sure where it is at now. And then the same game parlays, I will have to pull up again to give you the exact number on it. But it's basically Kansas plus 5.5, Nova plus 14.5. And then the over 122.5 on the alt line. To answer a question I've seen a couple times in the chat, I know the entire world loves the under here. I like the over. And I don't love the over. I like it. I have it at 135.7 in my sims. So that's why we're taking the over on that alt line. And then the parlay.
Mike, real quick, not to interrupt you. All right, your first one, plus 110. Okay. And then your second one, you're about to go right now, plus 130. So go ahead. Yeah.
Plus 130 on the Carolina game. And that one's going to be plus 5.5 on the Duke side, plus 14.5 on Carolina, and then Carolina plus 7.5 in the first half. And then I have the under, the highest number you can grab in the first half of the game. I believe it was 82.5 on the under.
Yep, correct. Nailed it right there. All right, Jay Smooth, let it rip, buddy.
Let's do it. All right. So, yeah, we're going to take Kansas money line. I'm playing it straight up. Again, that has a lot to do with where my positions are with this Nova team, how much I had riding on them before the injury, and just like, the miracle of if they win would be awesome for me anyway. So I have a little bit on the money line, even though it's pretty heavy. I don't really recommend that unless you have similar types of positions, but that's how I'm playing it. So I'm putting it up there. I'm still taking Kansas -4 because I do think they cover. I also like, maybe even selling some points and taking a bigger spread on Kansas. I do think they get this done. I have them winning this game by 7 points. And then I'm going to take the Kansas team total over just to emphasize it, drive it home a little bit more. Again, I see this game coming in right around 70 to 63 is what I'm making it, which puts it right at 133, which means I don't want to touch the total. It's pretty scary to me. I do think that the safest way to take it is to trust this Kansas team. I just do not think Nova has enough. I know the book has made this a huge spread because of Justin Moore, about 3-point difference, but it isn't going to be enough. Kansas is just so complete, and Nova is just so thin now without him. So, yeah, let's go Kansas.
I like it. All right, we're at 197 likes. We need just a couple. So everybody in the chat, we're going to assume that we're going to hit those 3 while I give the rest of the picks out here. Type Paramount Plus and your Twitter handle in the chat right now for your chance to win a $100 gift card for Paramount Plus, which the jeweler will hook you up and take care of all of that. So, all right.
Can I enter? Or is that like not allowed? Like,
hey,
I know I hit the like button. I know I'm one of likes. Like I better at least get like some type of running.
Smooth. You can enter all you like, buddy.
There you go.
I get what
you're not going to win.
See what you're getting at. I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
You're not going to win, but you can enter all you like.
Well, I was going to say, look, Don't ask me. The jeweler's in charge here, right? So you're gonna have to put the puck behind him and get that
Jeweler
going. So
coming out of the woodwork to make sure that I know what's going on. That's for sure.
I love it. I love every time that the jeweler drops in the show. All right, everybody doing that. Paramount Plus, type that in, and your Twitter handle. If you don't type your Twitter handle, we can't find you. All right, so we need you to drop your Twitter handle in the chat alongside of that. Okay, so the rest of the plays that we have, Maestro, he's on North Carolina team total over 73.5, which again will be live 7:30 Eastern to break down that game, which will be happening at the end of Villanova, Kansas. So that's going to be an awesome sweat live. Can't wait for that. We got a side play from this morning, North Carolina first half plus 2.5. I'm on Kansas minus 4.5. Also on Duke minus 4, and then our two-piece from this morning plus 186. That is Kansas minus 4 and Duke with the money line. Okay, so that's all the damage that we could do. All right, jeweler, drop back in here. All right, so where do we stand here on this gift card? Are you going to reach out to somebody on Twitter? How are we doing this?
Yeah, I'm gonna let people keep dropping some handles in, and I'll reach out to someone. We'll announce it on Twitter.
I love it.
If we're about to
I'll be
peace
waiting
out,
for
I
my
want
DM.
you.
I'm waiting for
Yeah,
my DM.
you wait with bated breath there, Smith.
Okay.
Well, jeweler, I was going to say you've got about 55 seconds on doing that. So yeah, I just wanted to keep everybody in space. Okay, so as we jump out again, like we always do, we break down or really just a chance to kind of give a thought of what you're looking at. Usually it's about this game, but boys, I'm going to throw it to you. You don't have to go full in depth, but hyping up what you're looking at for North Carolina and Duke tonight. M squared. I'll come over to you first.
I'm looking, honestly, it's the same thing in both games. I'm looking to see how the game is officiated in the first 4 minutes, but really the first 8 minutes of the game. I think it's critical for North Carolina and Baycott how the game is going to be officiated. I'm very interested in that, and just the overall energy in the building and the offensive efficiency in the first, again, 8 minutes of the game, shooting in a massive arena that's not a normal arena. It's going to be very interesting to see.
Jay Smooth.
Yeah, I'm that's obviously a great one to look at. I always got to take option number 2, officiating, so it was a sharp call. But I'm looking at the guard play. I want to see how the guards are able to get their own shots early in the game, if they can manufacture points, or if they're, passing out of scenarios where maybe on a hotter night, they're going to, take the jump shot and hit it. That's a big deal. You're going to need your guards to be confident, get their own looks, especially late in games. That's what wins games like this. And of course, the defensive efficiency are players, playing really well. Is coach going to have to make, I don't know which coach, but is one of the coaches going to have to make like a defensive substitution early because, someone's not all there? What's the emotion going to be? There's so much going on in this game. I can't wait for the 7:30 show. I'll say that much.
There's so much going on, right? And we'll get into all that. Again, 7:30 Eastern, this same channel here. Obviously, we're going to be live sweating the end of Villanova and Kansas and prepping every single bet, storyline, everything, you name it, for Kansas and Duke. So make sure 7:30 Eastern, be here. Like, that show is going to be nuts. All right. So before I jump into mine, Ace Shin 9. Congratulations. You have won the $100
Nice.
Paramount Plus gift card. Yeah, absolutely. Jeweler will get with you, get you hooked up, get you taken care of. So thank you. Thank you to everybody. Now, for me, what I'm looking at, literally what you were talking about, Jay Smooth, like, first, I'm excited to see, what we see out of the guard play, but what we see out of the teams. Who starts off hot? I really feel it's going to be either North Carolina starts up 12-0 or Duke starts up 12-0. And you look at Duke, in their 4 games that they played the NCAA tournament, from the field, they've shot 50% or better in all 4 of them. Like, they have been on fire, right? In terms of offensive efficiency. However, North Carolina's put up some points too, man. Like, this game is going to be 2 mirrors, looking at each other. It's going to be fantastic, man. I can't wait for that. Okay, so that's all the damage that we can do. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much. We're going to let you get out of here, get your bets in, get ready for this game. It's going to be fantastic. Best of luck to everybody on all of the bets that we have for this one. At 7:30 Eastern, same spot right here. We're going to do it all again, except we get to sweat this game and break down what could be the game of the year. It's going to be fantastic. So we will see you then. Best of luck.